Current Day Mammoth. Written, performed, and recorded by RRR Writerson. Chapter 1. Cold Open. It was a cold day in prehistoric France. It was the Ice Age, so the cold was to be expected. However, the band of hunters out on the icy plains didn't know it was an ice age. To them, it was Sunday. But the band of hunters didn't know it was Sunday, as the Gregorian calendar wouldn't be invented for about 8,000 years. So you could say it was a normal day in prehistoric France. The band of hunters out on the icy plains of France in prehistoric times were an experienced lot. Guranda was the leader. He was the chief of the clan, which was more like a family. Guranda had hunted mammoth since he was old enough to carry a torch. He knew their patterns of behavior, their movements, even their names. "The trick to mammoth hunting," he would tell the younger lads, "is to pick off the calves. They will feed us for a week, and it means the parents can keep on birthing." But sometimes there were no calves. The mothers would carry their babies for almost 2 years before birth. Herds were well managed by the hunters, who would record the birthing cycles, knowing when to ease back on the killing. In those times it was a difficult choice for Guranda, as he'd grown to know each mammoth throughout the years on the icy plains of prehistoric France. His favourite was called Big Tree, an old bull who'd been around for as long as Gu could remember. Back when Gu's grandfather was chief, and Big Tree was still small and soft, the clan had tried to take him down. Using the powers bestowed on them by their ancestors, the men used fire to drive the parents away, isolating the young bull at a cliff's edge. From there, the clan would close in on the calf. The mammoth would be forced to choose between the fire and spears, or a fall into the ravine which, while not causing immediate death, would break the beast's legs and back, rendering him an easy target. However, Big Tree had other ideas on this particular hunt. As a hunter drew closer, flames licking at Big Tree's trunk, the mammoth showed surprising agility. He rushed the hunter, pushing him down, and, ridiculously, was able to pick up the torch in his trunk. Mammoths were known to be intelligent, and they were much respected by the clan. But this was an exceptional occasion. Shocked and impressed, the hunters took a moment to pause. Fire was a sacred gift, passed down for countless generations from the sun god, Hot Father. They looked to Gu's grandfather, Dry Skin, for advice. "This requires consideration," said Dry Skin, his scalp flaking vigorously as he furrowed it in thought. "I would suggest that he's earned his freedom," suggested Root, another senior clansman. "But it is by Hot Father's will that we hunt the mammoths," replied a hot-headed youngster named Early Baldness. "It is our right." "Quiet down, Early Baldness, before you lose another hair from your preemptively balding head," replied Dry Skin to a chuckle from the lads. "It has been 12 days since the meat ran out," Early Baldness replied, moving towards Dry Skin. "There are plenty of roots in the cave," replied Root. He was very fond of roots. "I don't want any damn roots," said Early Baldness. "That is obvious. They are a cure for baldness," replied Root. During this fantastic conversation, the little Big Tree had shuffled his way underneath a rather large tree, Locally and colloquially, it was known as the Big Tree. I wonder if that has any significance for Big Tree's story. He raised up the still burning torch and miraculously set the frozen tree ablaze.
Huh?
Well, surely this is a sign from Hot Father, suggested medium height, the tallest in the clan.
It is decided. Remember, if you will, the story of the mammoth and the flaming tree,
said the wise dry skin.
I don't see how that has anything to do with this situation, replied Early Baldness, eager to shut the old man up.
Close your mouth, or I shall name you Big Mouth Bald Head, said Root, who was well known for his witty names. The lads had another good chuckle, while collectively thinking, Big Mouth Bald Head, by Hot Father, how did he come up with that? By the time this conversation had reached its natural end, the tree had burnt right down, leaving only the scorched trunk and golden, fertile roots pointing out of the icy ground towards the sky.
Big Tree has given us our dinner, said Root, salivating. Big Tree, aye, said Dry Skin, looking towards the young mammoth, whose own trunk had been badly burnt. With respect, the clan gathered up the roots and left the newly named Big Tree to nurse his burnt trunk in the snow. Back in present-day prehistoric France, the clan looked instead to Big Tree's son for this week's feast. He was a young bull with short tusks. The clan had named him Soon-to-be Longer Tusks. Goo had been tracking this herd with his own son. Just 15, Fish Fingers had earned a reputation for his expert tracking and for being adept at catching fish with his fingers. They're nearly at the ravine, said Fish Fingers calmly.
Yes, stay here, son. I'll bring the others,
replied Goo. Though Goo was past his prime, he still had the endurance of a young man. He moved like a shadow across the frozen marshes, back towards the hunter's outpost. There he would collect the men, who were ready and waiting to complete the hunt. Black Thicket, Stonefoot, Good Listener, and several others, the best of the clan. Low to the ground, Fish Fingers kept his eye on the herd. They were pretty much just sauntering along, minding their own business. Big Tree, his trunk still black from the now legendary fire, moved like a shaggy mountain. His matriarchs, Old Mother, Long Fur, and Female Mammoth 3, stuck close to the calves, their maternal instincts forming an impressive shield against the many predators on the icy plains of prehistoric France. Just then, something impossible happened. Well, clearly it wasn't impossible because it did happen. It was just quite unlikely considering Fish Fingers' experience in the field. A hairy trunk tapped him on the shoulder. Spinning around and onto his back, Fish Fingers was met by soon-to-be longer tusks. How did you sneak up on me? Asked Fish Fingers, incredulous. The young mammoth smiled and whipped his trunk around in delight. Where was his fear? I admit it, I'm impressed. You truly are the son of Big Tree. But now I have to finish the hunt. In a flash, Fish Fingers reached for his spear, his sprightly fingers grasping the shaft with a primal urgency. But before he could penetrate the mammoth's hide, the young bull had whipped it from his hands like the tongue of a lashing frog. Well, they didn't teach me this in caveman school, quipped Fish Fingers. Playfully, soon-to-be longer tusks trumpeted in the young hunter's ear and did an adorable roly-poly. You really have been a charming dinner, said Fish Fingers, flashing a knife aimed at the mammoth's throat. He froze mid-swing. No, I don't mean he changed his mind. He was actually frozen solid. So was soon-to-be longer tusks. In fact, everything for as far as the non-frozen eye could see was frozen in an instant. The temperature had fallen to minus 150 degrees Celsius, as quick as a non-frozen eye could blink. How, you ask? The science is out on that one, but it happened. And for the next 12,000 years, the hunter and his prey would remain in their frozen cells. The frozen Fish Fingers' fingers locked to the perennial shiv, just an inch from the mammoth's tender neck. Until... Like and subscribe to find out what happens next in this enthralling story that is called Current Day Mammoth. Who knows what will happen in the next time? Perhaps there'll be something related to current day mammoths. Maybe the mammoth will somehow emerge in the current day. Don't know. Find out next time.